Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger, and up next, State of the Ravens. Do me a quick favor, hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, State of the Ravens this week is going to be a little bit different. We're just going to talk about the present and the immediate future. All right. When I think about the state of the Ravens as we are going into a week 7 matchup with the Detroit Lions, I think in the present state of the Ravens, I think that we are solid. Not elite, not good, not great, but just a solid team. I think that organizationally, we still have some coaching flaws that need to be worked out. We still have some offensive flow and execution issues we need to work out. But I think that we are becoming more of a solid team. Now, what do I mean by solid? Well, just more consistent with the product we put on the field. For the most part, all year long, the defense has been well above average, right? Despite any injuries, despite um, any poor play calls, the defense has got on field and executed, led by their linebackers and their safety, Cal Hamilton, which has allowed the defensive front, including Jadeveon Clowney, Metabuke, and those guys to come along. Okay. So defense has been well above average all year. And offense, for the most part, has just been an average unit. That's why I'm calling this team solid holistically. I think offense has shown um, an ability to move the ball, but then they'll move the ball very well, and then they don't uh, end the drive with six. They settle in for three, which is what we saw in Tennessee. And then other times they'll have one great drive that scores a touchdown, and then they'll stall out, 3 or 4 drives in a row. And so the offense is still average to below average right now. And so if I have to assess, which is what I'm doing on a present state of the Ravens, they are an a solid team. Okay. Um, which kind of puts them, if I had to rank them, which would make them, mm, a top 14 team. Okay. Because it's only going to be 14 teams that make the playoffs. But when I look at the future, specifically the immediate future, I think that starting this week, this is really going to tell who we really are. Okay. Week 7 and the week 8 game come right before the trade deadline. And I think these 2 weeks are going to say what it is we need to make a trade for. Um, but as we go into Sunday's game with the Detroit Lions, I think the Detroit Lions are going to present some problems for the Ravens offensively and defensively. And we'll get into the specifics of that in biggest matchups and keys to victory. But I think the Detroit Lions present the most complete team that the Ravens have faced this year. A prolific offense for the most part. I'm not saying they are, you know, the Rams from the early 2000s, but Jared Goff has shown an ability to spin the ball with a lot of consistency. St. Brown has shown that he is that number one guy for the Detroit Lions. And then the Detroit Lions defense have shown a consistent improvement year after year. And they've taken on a hard nosed approach, such as their coach has. And so I think that offensively and defensively, they're going to present the most complete opposition that we've had this year. When you go back and look at the games that we've played, when we played Houston, we got the win. but we wasn't sure what CJ Stroud would be. So there was questions about Houston's offense. When we played the Cincinnati Bengals, well, they was still stumbling and bumbling all over the place, and we got a win in Cincinnati. Close win, but we got a win. Then we go and we lose to the Colts because we didn't know who we were, and we are dropping the ball all over the place, and they pull out a win. Then we go to Cleveland and we beat Cleveland, but Cleveland was playing without their starting quarterback, which left out some big questions for Cleveland's um, offense. Then we go to Pittsburgh, and we knew Pittsburgh had a solid defense, but their offense had questions, and we messed around all game long, and fumbled that game away as well. So then we play Tennessee in London, and we're moving the ball pretty well and doing what we needed to do, but we never did really cash in red zone um, opportunities, which leaves again some more questions about this team's offense. And so, for the most part, the defense has, like I said, been well above average. But I think when we roll into Sunday in Baltimore, I might add, the Detroit Lions have the potential to put up points, and they have the potential to disrupt our offense. And so I think that we're going to go into Sunday with some vulnerabilities, and with an upstart, confident Detroit Lions team, they could put our deficiencies on full blast this Sunday. And so I think that um, the state of the Ravens, they're solid, but if Detroit comes in and exposes us on Sunday, I think the foundation that we're trying to build could certainly begin to have some cracks in it. And so I think that when we look from Detroit week 7 to week 8, I think that's going to tell us where we need to make some improvements. Okay. Now, personally, I think that there is a defensive improvement we need to make as far as personnel. And I also think that there's an offensive upgrade that we need to make also. And we'll get into that in Burning Questions, probably come out Sunday, because the Burning Questions will be a trade episode Q&A that we'll do. And but I do think we need a defensive upgrade and an offensive upgrade. And so we'll talk about candidates and things like that. But on the flip side of Sunday's game, I think it could be a real confidence booster. There is about 50-50 right now of people who expect Detroit to beat the Ravens, and then the other 50% expect the Ravens to beat Detroit. And I think that if the Ravens could come out and execute, right? If we could come out and execute on Sunday, I think it'll be a real boost to the Ravens' confidence overall. You know, if this Ravens defense shows up strong against Detroit's offense, I think it'll be a real confidence booster that we are who we say we are defensively. And I think if this Ravens offense could show up against Detroit's defense, I think that we can begin to build more confidence offensively as well, because Detroit's defense is a good run stopping defense. They don't allow the run to get off a whole lot. So if we could, do some things in the run game, that'll be great. If we could make some throws and catches to move the ball down the field, that'll be great. And I think it'll be a real um, boost to what the Ravens are trying to do this year. So that's my thoughts, man. I think the Ravens are solid. The defense are well above average, and the offense is just average right now. And I think execution is key. We're 6 weeks in now. The Ravens should be figuring out who they are offensively. We cannot still have the same questions going into week 7. And we do have the same questions, but we have to start answering the questions that we have about our offense going in and out of week 7. And then week 8 is pending, of course. And so we're basically halfway, almost halfway through the season. It's time to have answers. So that's my take, man. You guys let me know what you want me to know. What do you guys think about the state of the Ravens? Stay tuned, man, for biggest matchups. Stay tuned for burning questions, all coming up over the next day and a half. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.